Can I Not Marry audio web novel chapter 42, The President's Love Confession. This kind of thing such as dating. It's not that Du Lacey haven't done it before. That year when her colleagues introduced her to her boyfriend Zheng Mingming, this person the biggest hobby was shopping in the supermarkets, and his greatest interest was tasting variety of free samples of new products. So Du Lacey been on countless of supermarket free tasting dates with him. At that time, Du Lacey simply felt that since they were dating, of course, they should accommodate each other, so even if she felt free tasting was very shameful, she tried to maintain a clam mentality. But today's situation is completely different. She's dating the president, such vast aura is incomparable with Zheng Mingming. Even merely holding hands as they strolled, Du Lacey felt the feeling of tight tension in her heart. Coupled with the president born with extraordinary outward appearance, simply strolling down the street would attract countless female and several gay men's admiring eyes. So walking on such a road, Du Lacey couldn't help but sigh in her heart. Mom, where have my date gone? This is simply parading through the streets. Du Lacey's mood was written all over her face. Naturally this also couldn't escape Lian Jun's sharp eyes. He couldn't help but wanting to tease her. Du, could it be you're very nervous? Well, President, you know the truth. Du Lacey's face turned red. No. Her sentence was left unfinished as her waist was embraced and gently pulled into his arms. Lowering his head, his breathing was like an orchid. It's simply just a kiss, you don't need to be so nervous. It was best if he didn't mention that kiss, however once mentioning it, Du Lacey's face reddened like a monkey's bottom. In the midst being very embarrassed, he suddenly lowered his head, like a raging swift thunder brushing past her earlobes, and gently kissed her on the lips. See, this kind of thing is very normal in foreign countries. Greater than, blank, President, the problem is we're not in a foreign country. Can you please make a contribution to a harmonious society? Although Du Lacey's brain is not efficient at making sharp turns, but she has a strong premonition if she doesn't say something to change the subject it won't be long until the president turn the streets into a 18+ rated drama scene. That, were you and Fei Fei once proposed marriage partners? Lian Jun was slightly stunned. He could not help but laugh. This girl really knows change the subject. If he was to continue teasing her then he estimated she really would cry. He nodded, and loosened his grip on her waist. Who? In Du Lacey's heart she let out a long sigh of relief, and continued to ask, then why didn't you continue to develop further? A wife asking her husband why he didn't have thoughts of further develop feelings with another woman. This kind of question only Du Lacey the monad would dare to ask. Lian Jun was somewhat helpless and shrugged his shoulders. There was no feelings. But Fei Fei is our school medical faculty's beauty. That year due to the school dormitory allocation problem, she had no choice to share a bedroom with the medical students. Therefore, she became acquaintances with the legendary Zhu Yaofei. From Du Lacey's point of view, as long as Zhu Yaofei converged some of her strange temper, with a casual wave of her hands, a truckload of men would grovel beneath her feet. Hearing her inquisition, Lian Jun lightly replied, I don't like a woman too intelligent. Isn't having an intelligent woman a good thing? Du Lacey murmured. She suddenly noticed something was amiss. She jerked his head and blurted out, you saying I'm stupid? Her reaction is generally not slow. Lian Jun curved his lips into a smile. You said it yourself. T_______T President, why must you make such insinuations? In this world the most painful thing is hearing another person saying you're stupid. Du Lacey also imperceptibly nodding in agreement. At this point she could only use grief and indignation to describe her current mood. However, Lian Jun slightly stared at her with profound eyes, his eyes seemingly hidden another meaning. What is it? Du Lacey couldn't see through them. Lian Jun gave a sigh. Du, you are really stupid. It was the second time he has called her stupid. Du Lacey was finally annoyed. Where am I stupid? Having said this, she suddenly realized that something and her mouth froze in place. First of all the president mentioned he doesn't like too intelligent women, then he said she was stupid. Could it be he wanted to say, he likes her? These words like a washing machine flipping in her mind. Du Lacey regained her senses. The president has just made a love confession. Du Lacey swallowed her saliva, hoping she could get confirmation from Lian Jun's eyes, but he did not speak, merely smiled. This smile suddenly made Du Lacey's little heart palpitate. She really wanted to ask, but she was afraid he would deny it and she imagined that her love hasn't been reciprocated. However, if she didn't ask, her heart felt slightly panicked. Oh, this feeling is really too complex. At this time, Lian Jun pulled her hand and continued to walk. Du Lacey slavishly followed. Her current mood is completely different. She felt the heat from his hands. It was hotter than the summer weather. She could feel her palm continuously sweat and moist. Even though her palm finally cooled down, however Du Lacey have finally gone insane. Lian Jun raised her hands to his lips and gently blowed until the sweat on her hands dried. Sitting on the park bench, Du Lacey was distrait. She didn't know how long she's been suffering since the president professed his love for her and his extremely bear-teasing actions. Her fragile little heart finally overload and collapse. Here, Lian Jun returned and gave her an ice cream. Du Lacey did not dare to look into his eyes, she only lowered her head and licked the ice cream. The coldness rushed to her brain, then the numbing feeling quickly rushed to the palm of her hand. Heaven, earth, please just let her faint. T________T, it is delicious. Lian Jun naturally sat down closely besides her. Du Lacey mechanically nodded, her eyes were lifeless. I want to try as well. Oh. Du Lacey made a sound and suddenly felt something amiss. Just when she wanted to refuse, her lips has already been sealed. And this time it was full of passion, not letting the slightest gap between them. He extended his palms into her thin clothing, touching her bare waist. Obviously, someone haven't eaten his full and now wanted to devour with interest. Just one kiss. Lian Jun licked his lips, appearing fully satisfied and content. He said, very sweet. Staring at Du Lacey again, her eyes were blurred, her pink lips was slightly swollen, her hair was a mess, she was not properly dressed. That moment, Du Lacey suddenly realized that she have entered the quail mode. The more she huddled, the more insatiable the president became. Going on like this quail is likely to be eaten R-rated. No, she had to revolt. You don't. Her sentence was half spoken when the president's killer eyes came. Du Lacey swallowed the rest of her sentence down her throat and mockingly smiled. There's a drought. Lian Jun earnestly said, it's currently summer. It can't be dry during summer. Why else would there be so many accidental sparks of fire? Greater than ________ the summer afternoon in the park, a lush verdant scene. This city's rainy season, this morning after rain still remained on the turf, droplets of water shimmer in the sunlight, from afar like hidden treasures in the grass. Du Lacey looked at the front piece of grass in a daze. She recalled the thrilling experiences from today. She couldn't help but blush. Sure enough, being with the president one still needs a strong heart. At this time, all of a sudden a white pug leaped into her field of vision, its white ball of hair on the green lawn jumping up and down, very lovely and cute. Du Lacey's eyes lit up, she reached out to greet the little dog. Be obedient, come. As if the dog understood her words, it twisted its ass and happily ran over. Walking in front of them, it reached out its tongue to lick Du Lacey's fingers. Oh, so cute. She couldn't help but exclaim admiringly, completely forgotten the embarrassed situation. Lian Jun lifted his eyebrow at her and the puppy bundled together and asked, you like it? Of course. Du Lacey's fixed her eyes on the little dog. Don't you think it's like a little child? So cute and lovable. Little child. Lian Jun laughed, and slowly said, you can actually give birth to one. Hey, it's a dog though. Du Lacey angrily stared at him, when she suddenly felt that the atmosphere was somewhat unusual. Could it be the president is actually hinting something? In fact, they have one of their own. Her just faded blush face suddenly reddened up once again. Hateful. She blushed and shyly said. Lian Jun was so amused that he wanted to laugh, but at that moment, the corners of his lips froze. Let's go. His voice sounded amiss. Du Lacey asked, where are we going? To the hospital, he replied, with a pale face. With a red face, Du Lacey pulled on her clothes. Hateful. I'm not even pregnant yet. Why we need to go to the hospital? Hateful. Lian Jun reluctantly interrupted her thoughts. He forced out a smile. We're not going to the Department of Obstetrics and Gynecology. I need to go to the Department of Gastroenterology. By the looks of things, Lian Jun is suffering the after effects of Du Lacey's unintentional chilly abuse.